Welcome to On Behalf of, where I, Dara Kalima, the community poet, chat with folks who speak on behalf of their respective communities. Today, I have a really awesome guest that I have known. Should I really say how many years I've known this person? I've known this person for a while. I've met them in the community as we were trying to serve the community and make it better here in New York. And then they left me to go serve New Jersey community. And I feel some way. I still feel a way about that, but that's okay. I love them. And that's why they're here on the show today. So how about you tell us your name?
Hello, everyone. I am Orane Williams.
And what are your pronouns, Orane?
Well, I don't use that, but I will for these purposes. He, him, king, any of those works for me.
I'm here for a king. I love it. I love it. So tell us about yourself.
So, I am an avid traveler. I'm an entrepreneur. I am also, I do have a full-time job. I manage people. I all about adventure. I love my family. I love the community. I love youth. Those are some of the things that, some of those communities I definitely identify with.
So you just started answering the next question, but what communities technically do you represent? I know you live out in Jersey.
Yes.
What are people
So
from New Jersey even called? Because they're not New Yorkers. So I don't know if we call New Jersey people anything.
I'm a Jersey boy. I don't know if people go by Jersey girl. I don't know, but a Jersey boy, born and raised in New Jersey. I represent the Caribbean community. Both of my parents are from the island of Jamaica, West Indies, not Jamaica, Queens. No disrespect to them. But I'm also a dual citizen, so I do have my citizenship from Jamaica. Communities, what other communities I represent? I represent, I'm an uncle, I guess, represent the uncles.
Here
I'm
you
not
go.
a
I
father.
represent the aunties, so I'm here for that.
Let's see what other communities I represent. Travelers, entrepreneurs,
Public speakers or
um,
motivational speakers? No.
motivational speakers, entrepreneurs, business people. I went to college graduates. That's another community right there.
All of
Uh,
that.
with a degree of in business management. Yes, all those different things. It's funny. I never really thought about until we were conversating, trying to get ready for this. What are the communities I represent? I just do what I do. I never think to really identify with subgroups. I represent the cyclist community as well. One of
That's
my
true.
newest hobbies, and also the firearms community. I know some people are against that and whatnot, but hey, that's a community I'm a part of.
Okay, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. If that's what you're about, that's what you're about. It's interesting because we don't think about those things, right? But like we are, when I was a kid and I was in elementary school, we always were told like we represent, especially since I was in an elementary school that had a uniform. I was in a private parochial school. So it was always about like when we were in that uniform, we represented not only ourselves and our family, but we represented our school because
Yeah.
people recognized us as part of that school. So if one of us was sitting there stealing something, they knew what school it was because we were the only ones in
Right.
that color uniform. So like that idea of like we are our brother's keeper, we are part of that same community because when you dress up in cycling gear and you cycling with a group of people,
Yeah.
people gonna know you part of that group, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I think that's cool. I have been peeping all your different mileage that you've been picking up as a cycler. So I've never learned to ride a bike, so don't judge me, but I'm
No,
proud of
that's
you to
fun.
see you all over
Look,
the place.
there's some people who are still trying to learn to ride a bike, and you should try. You should try one day.
I tried. I did try. They had adult lessons and I took them probably like 5 years ago, and I discovered that my knee was not with it. And I was like,
Mm.
cool, this is hard on the knee. And I just was like, I'm good because I have arthritis in my knee from all those nights that I used to close clubs. So yeah, I may have passed my time for that. If there's a tricycle, maybe we'll see.
Okay.
So which community are we specifically talking about today, Orain?
So today we're going to talk about traveling, the traveling community.
Okay. And is it specifically a specific part of the traveling community? Because I know you be doing all the traveling. You travel by
Yes,
yourself a lot, right? Or maybe or something. Or you do it
yes.
all.
I travel solo. I've traveled in groups. I do it all, but we can start off with just just traveling by yourself. I think sometimes people are fearful to go out and venture the world alone, and you may wait for someone, but if you're waiting on other people, you may not get to do the things that you want to do because you're waiting on others. So hopefully I can help, kind of break some of that stigma for folks and help you get to the places you want to go, even if it's by yourself.
So how did you get into traveling on your own?
I think it all started, just traveling in general for me started from a very young age. My parents just instilled traveling for me, whether it's taking me to Jamaica or, sending me to a family member's house in Canada or Georgia. And I've just always been the adventurous type, I think. And I'm a person who doesn't necessarily need to wait on others to do anything. I have no problem going anywhere and doing anything by myself, because probably 7 out of 10 times I'm going to know somebody wherever I'm going anyway. But nonetheless, I enjoy, if there's something I want to do, I don't want waiting on someone to hinder me from doing it, or accomplishing it. So, I never had a problem wanting to do things on my own. And also, I think it's good to be by yourself, and it gives you an opportunity to make new friends, most importantly, right? If you don't want to be by yourself, if you could, there's always been times where I might go out to eat alone. I might sit at the bar and I might just strike up a conversation with the person next to me. And you just never know what that conversation can lead to. You might make a new friend for all you know.
You're an
So
extrovert, aren't you?
yeah, I am an extrovert, but I can be an introvert as well. And I think it's the Leo in us, right?
I'm a Leo. We both Leos. That is something that most people don't necessarily know yet. But like I am completely an introvert. So you do better than that than I do. I don't even know who started talking when we first met. It probably was you. I don't know. I don't remember who started the conversation, but I'm gonna bet it was you.
I could be shy sometimes too, There's nothing wrong. I
But
could be
see,
shy.
being an introvert is not about being shy. Or people always equate the two. It is about where you get your
Mm,
energy from. And so my
okay.
energy likes to be contained and silent and sitting up on the wall and quiet, watching what's happening. And I'm not shy most times. I just don't like doing this small talk conversation stuff. So I don't know how we became friends. Still love you though. But I don't know how it happened.
I don't. It's so long ago. Yeah, I don't remember either. But at least we do know how we met and where we met.
Exactly. So then tell me about the first trip you took solo, like that you maybe as an adult, because maybe you were being sent away as a kid. So we're gonna talk about as an adult when you consciously decided I'm gonna go on this trip by myself. Do you remember your first trip?
I really can't remember because, yeah, I
You've done
couldn't
too
tell.
many. Your most memorable solo trip. How about that?
You know what? I'll say something recent. So December, I went to. Now I don't know if this constitutes for a solo trip or not, but I traveled to Colombia by myself. I flew by myself. I stayed by myself, but I did know somebody that was living there that I was going to visit.
That still
I
counts.
don't know if this technically still counts as a solo trip.
I'll count it as solo.
Okay, great. So what made it memorable was, when I travel, I try to think of for the destination, what are the things I want to do while I'm there? What do I want to see? What do I want to do? I'll check some resources, and I try not to really jam pack my itinerary. 10 o'clock I'm doing this, 12 o'clock I'm doing that. I want to have a few things I want to do, and just leave room for whatever. So I wanted to see. Why can't I think of his name right now? But anyway, I wanted to go on a tour
Mhm.
for Pablo Escobar. That was one of the things I wanted to do. So I booked that tour in advance, and then actually another guy was there by himself. He's from London, and so we had a good time on the tour. It was just me and him and the tour guide. So then, boom! Now I got a friend, and we linked up throughout the whole trip, just hanging out. So those are some of the beauties of just being by yourself. You just never know. And so I booked that through a tour, and then I was on another free walking tour. A lot of cities, a lot of popular destinations will have a free walking tour. So that's a great way, and probably maybe the first thing you should do in a new place is try to find a free tour, because it'll kind of give you some history, some background, you get to see some sites, and then you can find if there's a particular area that you saw during the free tour that maybe you may want to spend more time at. So I connected with some cool people during that. But that was very recent, and I really had a good time. We still have a group chat from that trip. Like, we still connect and talk, because one guy, so it wound up being like 4 of us that connected during this trip. And like one guy, he's still there. Like, he went back. He loved it. So yeah, those are some of the fun things that can happen during a solo trip. And I had no idea that it would be an outcome like this. I was just like, always wanted to go to Colombia, wanted to visit my friend because it was her birthday, had really no agenda. I stayed for a week, and I had a great time.
That's awesome. I have to say, one of my was it my first international trip? I guess it is my first international trip. I went to St. Martin, and I had no plans of anything. And there was it was a timeshare, because my dad has timeshares. So I went to I was like, oh, I gotta go get food. So I went to the supermarket. I had no idea how I was getting there. Got a ride there. So our mother and daughter that just happened to see me when we were checking in at the same time. I spent most of the rest of the trip with the mother and daughter, and it was not planned, but they were social. And they met the former prime minister of social, the social whatever or whomever. And we ended up clubbing at local clubs in St. Martin that we would have never found before. So I gotta say, hanging out with an extrovert may be cool. Because you get to see things you wouldn't see normally. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. I feel you. So I have a question, because it popped into my head while you were talking. Have you ever been anywhere? Because people talk about traveling and sometimes not feeling safe because we're people of color and not every place has been friendly to us. Have you ever run into that while you've been traveling? That hasn't felt welcoming?
I've never been anywhere that I didn't feel welcoming. I definitely do some research online to just kind of feel what the climate is like. So for example, people, you hear Colombia, you may have seen Narcos and how dangerous it is and all that good stuff. And so I didn't feel any moments of danger while I was there. On that free tour, the guy used a term, he called it papaya level, right? So a level from 1 to 5, just in terms of maybe you might have some pickpocketers and things, or just be more conscious of what you're doing. And I don't think I think we may have gotten to papaya level 4, just be aware of your surroundings and just be open to things. And I think I remember in France, I remember reading a lot about a particular area. It's by a church where people do little scams and tricks with string and bracelets and stuff like that. I didn't feel unsafe at any time during that, but I tried to not put myself in any dangerous situations, and just be conscious, just as I would be at home. I want to be abroad, if not even more. I'm not gonna venture off down some dark alleyway, let me see what's over there. No, I'm not gonna do that here. And I just try to tend to stick to, popular areas and things of that. And I think it comes to safety, right? So, Jamaica is a beautiful country. It has a lot of beautiful places to see, things to do. But then there's also, it has its dark side, just like anywhere else. And there's some people who are fearful of that. And sometimes it's sad when I hear some people afraid to go there and things like that, because this is the country of my parents' birth. But I feel like, just like any other place, there's no place that's not dangerous. New York City is dangerous too, right? There's places in New Jersey that's dangerous, and it's no different anywhere you go in the world. I think you just have to be conscious about where you're going, what you're doing, and who you're doing those things with, and just be mindful. Obviously, I'm not going to travel to Ukraine right now or Russia right now. No, it's super dangerous right now. But I'm not going to put myself in those kind of predicaments as best I can.
Okay, I feel you. I definitely
I have been pickpocketed before. I've been pickpocketed before. I think I've I've gotten taken for a camera, a phone. And while these things are just material things, yes, it's sad because I lost the pictures that I took and so on and so forth. But my life has never been in jeopardy. I haven't been held at gunpoint and knife point.
Okay. I've lost the camera, but that was my fault. I lost the camera in Toronto. And that was me just I don't think someone took it purposely. I think I left it and then
Oh,
they
okay.
didn't report it. They were like, "Oh, I got a new camera."
Yeah,
You know? I think I
they
left it
definitely.
and didn't notice it. So yeah. And then I know my dad has been my dad in Spain got money taken from him
Mm.
because he was being too helpful. But certain parts of Spain has that reputation. So, you figure it out. But that's good advice. Good advice. So, favorite group trip?
I gotta go with Carnival.
Mm,
Carnival community. That's another community. But yes, my Carnival trips have been some of the best group trips. Really have a great time with the people that I've been to, and I think so. Just a little backstory. My best friend, he passed away 5 years ago, and he took me to Trinidad Carnival like in 2011, and so I went with him. And so after he passed, I went again maybe the following year, and I was with a whole new set of people, and it was kind of an emotional trip for me because I never been without him, but we had a really great time, and we've formed a bond, a family. We've gone a couple other times since then, and we do other things outside of that. But yeah, carnivals would be probably my favorite group trips.
why? What's so great about it?
Ooh, carnival is life. Something about the soca music that just really, it's very uplifting. It's very emotional, good emotions. It's good food, good times, good events, good energy. Just an all around good time. And a lot of people do, ask about me, ask about it, or want to go. But it's a good time, and it's a great time, really fun time, and get to see a lot of performances and eat a lot of nice food and drink a lot of liquor, but just have a really good time. And just it's a time and it's a moment where people just kind of just what we would say in the Caribbean community, just free up yourself. No one is being really stush or stuck up and things of that nature. Everyone is there to just have a good time and really enjoy and embrace the culture.
Awesome. Awesome. So something beautiful about the travel community. So not necessarily like places you've been or anything, but the people you travel with people, you've met people as you've traveled. What's something beautiful about the people in which you do this traveling thing with?
I think what's beautiful about the travel community is that everyone is different. People are from different cultures, races, and we all love this thing traveling, right? I think that's what's beautiful. I think people embrace one another in the travel community for the most part. Not to say that you can't have a bad experience traveling with some people. I'm kind of going through a situation like that right now. So that's something that's beautiful about the travel community, and I think everyone genuinely wants to, help and encourage others. Those are some things that are beautiful about the travel community.
So I want to go back for a second. Thank you. When you plan these trips, do you book them yourselves? Do you use travel agents? Do you use like those websites that help you do the travel, like to bypass the travel agent? Like, how do you do
Great
this?
question. Great question. I do not use a travel agent. This is just my opinion. I book everything directly with the airline, directly with the hotel or the place that I'm staying. I've done hotels, I've done resorts, I've done Airbnb, I've done a guest houses. So I just believe in just no middleman, no third party, because when there's an issue or there's a problem, it could be a problem, whether it's, trying to get a refund or this or that. So I just book things directly. I don't use any third party websites. And that's probably something I've done over the last few years. I used to use like Expedia, several years ago, but like I just stopped and just directly flying, directly booking with the airline and so on and so forth.
Okay, that's good to know. But then how do you know you found like the best website to plan and think? Like, I mean, I get the airline, that's easy. The hotel, sure. Like I'm like that too, generally. I will look at like Expedia to see what the airlines are doing, and then I'll go straight to the airline. Or I look at those and see what the hotels are doing, and I'll go to the hotel directly. Because also, like, you also have the points with the hotel, so just go to the hotel and do the hotel thing, right? But like, when you're looking at the tours, how do you know that this is a more credible tour versus the other tour, or how do you know to do that?
Great question. So when it comes to like those excursions, right? Yeah. So I'll look at TripAdvisor for the most part for tours and activities, and any place I'm looking to go to that I haven't been to, that's where I'm looking. I'm looking at the reviews. I think TripAdvisor is a very, 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 very credible site. And I have also used Airbnb experiences as well. I've had good success there, and it's all about the reviews, just like anything else. I mean, if you're going to a restaurant, I don't really, if I'm going to a restaurant around here, I'm not looking at reviews because I really don't care. But if I'm going somewhere else, not necessarily restaurants, but in terms of staying somewhere, especially if it's going to be an Airbnb, in terms of excursions, I'm looking at the reviews. And, if there's not adequate amount of reviews or there's something negative in the reviews, then probably I'm not going to book it. But yeah, TripAdvisor is a good one. And there's a second one. I can't remember what it's called. Viator is another good website as well to look at those excursions and stuff. But also sometimes you can maybe get a better deal if you wait till you're on the ground or you're there, because you might be able to negotiate. You can save a few dollars. You can talk them down. So that can help as well. But if you really want to find those credible excursions and things to do, that's what I do.
So we've talked about a lot of international travel. Do you travel domestically? Do you even count that as traveling? Like,
yeah, I do travel domestically. One good thing for me is for my full-time job, I do have to travel for my job. So some of that is domestic travel. And I turn those even into, depending on the city, I might turn those into little fun workcations, I call them, right? And this past weekend I went to Houston. So I do travel domestically as well. I like to travel to certain cities that I like, and also I don't mind venturing to new cities that I haven't been to before. I'm trying to think of where someone recently that I haven't been to before. I think last year I went to Louisville, Kentucky for the first time, right? And I went there. I didn't even know that's where Muhammad Ali is from, right? There's like a whole museum for him there. The airport is named after him. So I didn't get to explore too much, but I know the next time I go, I want to carve out some time to go to that museum and just see what that's all about.
I love that because, so Orane and I met through a civil rights organization here in the States. And when we would go to conference, conference always lands in a different city. And when we go to conference, I always add like 2 or 3 days before the trip so that I could see where we were going. So that's how I got to see New Orleans. That's how I got to see Cincinnati. Did I do that in Cincinnati? I don't know if I did in Cincinnati. But like sometimes wherever we go, I try to spend an extra day or two in those places just to be like, oh, this is what's around here. This is what happens over here. I definitely did it in New Orleans. I definitely did it in St. Louis. Well, that's where I broke my arm too, but I definitely did it in St. Louis. But I appreciate getting to those places just so when you're there for business, spending the extra day or two to see the place, because business is going to take over the whole time.
Yeah, you're already there. Like, why not add an extra day or two to, do the things that you want to do and see the sites that you want to see? Because sometimes when you're there for work, conference, business, whatever, everything's so jam-packed, you may not get time to any free time to do anything else. So I like that idea. I never did that for conferences, add on an extra day or two. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I did it I've done it in Atlanta. When I did, I don't know, I can't even think of what conference that was. It's the one I usually wouldn't go to, but I had to because I was an emerging leader then. But I would always, whenever I go to those, I was like, okay, 2 extra days just to like sit there. It's partially to acclimate because, getting older. But besides that, it's also just like, what is in this town? Let me see what's around. Let me go get the food thing or see that one landmark that you have to see while you're there, because when else are you going to be there, but you're there now. Or like when I did the St. Louis trip, because it's not so far from Chicago, I made that trip crazy. It was also crazy again because I fractured my elbow while in St. Louis, but I went to St. Louis early, did the conference, and then took an Amtrak to Chicago and
Oh,
stayed up there for
nice.
a few extra days. So I made that trip. What would be a 7-day trip, I made it probably a 10, 11-day trip, and went and
Nice.
saw friends because they weren't that far. So I like that idea of like
On
just.
Second Cindy. That's a good idea too. Add it on a neighboring city. Yeah, I like Chicago. I need to go back. I haven't been in a while.
So, do you have like a limit on visiting places? Because for me, I have a 4-trip limit. I can only go to one place 4 times because there's so much of the world to see. Do you have any limits, or do you just keep going back to the places you love, or just you
Uh,
just love to take it? I mean, you travel a lot though, so.
yeah, so I think it depends. Like, I'm not gonna have a limit on going to Jamaica because that's Jamaica.
Well, that's
I
your other
like
home. That's your other country. So.
yeah, but obviously there's work places that I gotta go to for work, so I can't limit that. But yeah, I don't really have. If I like a place, I don't mind going back there. Obviously, yeah, I want to see new places, but sometimes you may not always have the time, whether it's the time or the money to get to somewhere new. Yes, I do, have aspirations to visit, at least touch every continent and so on and so forth. But if I like a place, I don't mind going back again. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. Am I gonna, go somewhere 20 times? I don't know about that. Outside of Jamaica, but because Jamaica's the best country. But yeah, I don't really have a limit. I can't even count how many times I've probably been to like the DMV area or
Well, I
AM.
mean, that's still home. Like to me, I can't count it because that's where most of my family now lives there. So DMV can't count on that list. Like that's home. I've been going to DMV my entire life. That I can't
Yeah,
count
and
that.
it's like 3 hours from us. Yeah.
It's next door. Yeah. It's closer for you than me. But yeah, like same thing with Philly. Like I love Philly so much that even though no one really lives there, Philly's never gonna Philly is above that limit because it's Philly's next door. I can run away. So there's some places nearby you can't just put in that list. So I feel you. So when you travel, is there like something you have to do at every place? Like some people have to have food, like they have to go to the best restaurant, or they have to go see that one site, or they have to get the one, like they have to collect a playing card from the place or something. Is there something you have to do at every place you go to?
For the most part, I have to do something adventurous and dangerous, or semi-dangerous. Um, so for domestic, that's not always the case, just depending on the city. So for example, I was in Houston last weekend and we did ATVs. We had such a fun time doing that. The place it was just like, it's Texas, so they got so much land. And I would have got lost if we didn't have a tour guide. Like that's how big the place was.
I didn't even know Houston had ATVs. Now I'm mad. I gotta go back. Okay, continue.
Yeah, so things like that. Anything fun with the zip lining. I think I tend to do more of the adventure stuff, probably outside of the country, but just anywhere. I want to do something adventurous. I want to see the popular site, right? So the company I work for, they're based in Missouri, and we always travel our people in, and half the time we never bring them to see the arch. I'm like, this is the most popular site in the city. Why do we never bring the people to the arch? Sometimes it's their first time there. Although I've seen it several times, but like I want to see what's popular in whatever place I'm going to, more than likely to say that I've been there, especially if it's one of like the top 5 sites of the place. If I could see it, I want to see it. And I definitely want to eat something good, depending on where it is, like, so the Midwest, they got good barbecue. I want to eat some good barbecue, things like that. So
I definitely like tasting what they're known for.
yeah,
I got to go back to Chicago. Chicago's kind of banned on my list because I've been too many times, but I keep hearing about the Chicago pizza and not the deep dish.
Deep dish pizza?
No, it's not deep dish. So that's the thing.
Not deep dish?
There's another pizza that's not deep dish that I keep hearing about.
Interesting.
There's a regular non-deep dish pizza. It's almost like a thin crust pizza. So it's not even like it's not like a New York pizza style. It's apparently like a thin crust pizza that everyone keeps talking about. That's not the deep dish. And there's supposed to be this like great divine pizza. I mean, it's not New York pizza, so whatever. But I've definitely had the deep dish. I've gone there and had the deep dish. Like I have not been to Chicago in a couple of years. I definitely, even longer than that, I have not been to a pizza spot in Chicago, but I can still taste Geno's up in Chicago. Like I can taste it today. And it's been at least like a decade since I've been there, maybe, and had this pizza. That's how delicious that pizza was. That deep dish pizza was divine. But there's another pizza that is not deep dish that everyone keeps talking about that Chicago pizza is really good for. So I feel like I got to go to Chicago at least one more time for that because I've had their hot dogs. Hot dogs are actually really darn good. So I'm going to give them props for that. I love the deep dish pizza. But apparently, and I mean, it's funny because Uno's is where the pizza started. But Uno's pizza that we have in the chain, the original Uno's did not sell the secrets of the crust. So the crust at the originals is different than the Uno's everywhere else. I have had it. I like the Uno's everywhere else.
I've ever eaten Uno's actually.
So I like the Uno's crust in the franchise, not so much the original, but I've had it because I now know the difference, right? Like, so I've had the deep dish in Chicago multiple times, but there's apparently another type of pizza that is another Chicago style pizza that no one's talking about, but natives from Chicago talk about. So I got to go back one more time to have that. So like I do, and so St. Louis, I definitely had. I don't even know what St. Louis is known for, but there's the television show that was there too. Sweet
Teas.
So I definitely went there. I went there before. So the organization went there too. So I ended up going there twice because I went there once without them. Okay. There's some dessert that I had there that I was told I had to get. I only got the fake one. I didn't get to have the real one. But when we went to NOLA, I definitely went to the 2 spots I was told you had to go to. And then I didn't know the bread pudding was a big thing there. I had so much bread pudding that I came home and I had to make bread pudding again because I missed it. Like NOLA is dangerous because NOLA has all the food and everything is from NOLA.
Go back there, but probably not this year. I'm trying to drop some weight, so I don't need to be going to NOLA.
NOLA be bringing you like. I tell people when they go to NOLA, I said, bring 2 stomachs with you because that's the only way you can survive NOLA. Bring 2 stomachs. But like, so I appreciate the like different tasting places, but I haven't been to enough places to know. Like, whenever I go, I ask like a cab driver, what's the place that I have? What's the type of food? What do I have to have? What taste? What do I need to have if I'm here? What's it like? They don't always steer me right because they sometimes do touristy things. But I do ask that question always, like, if I can only eat one meal here, what's the meal I need to have here? So yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. So if there is a fun fact that we all need to know about your community, what would that fun fact be?
Oh, about the community. I'd say a fun fact about the community is that Black people do travel. We're traveling everywhere and anywhere. We're in so many different places. It's not even funny. And I think we're kind of underrepresented in the community. So I'd say that's a fun fact.
Awesome. Is there a fun fact about you would like to share about yourself?
A fun fact about me is that I'm a grand uncle.
Your grand uncle. How are you a grand uncle?
My nephew has a son.
Are you serious?
He has 2 sons, yeah.
Wait, how do you have a nephew that has you're not old enough for that?
My nephew and I were not that many years apart.
Okay.
5 years apart, yeah.
Okay. But I thought
I have an older brother. I'm the middle child.
Oh, okay. I knew about your sister. I don't think I knew about your brother. That's why I was like, I'm confused here because I'm like, your sister don't. I was having a hard time for a second. Okay, so that's fair and valid because I was about to be like, is this something I don't know about you, Orane? Well, clearly I didn't know about your brother. So okay, that's good to know. You are a grand uncle. All right. So that's where those grades came from. No, picking on you. I have a lot more that you can't see under this hat. So I'm just going to say that. Awesome. Is there anything about traveling or the travel community that's frustrating to you?
I think sometimes when it comes to group trips and the financials can be frustrating. And that's where you may want to tap into utilizing a travel agent. So I don't plan too many group trips, because it could be a headache. But if you want to get a group trip together, I think having a travel agent as a resource can be a great solution, because everybody makes their payments with the travel agent, right? And the travel agent is kind of like their go-to person. They have questions to help them with the flights and so on and so forth. So that I think that's a good way to combat that. So that's something that's frustrating for me when it comes to travel. Just sometimes certain groups and finances, and I'm kind of going through a situation like that right now.
Is it
Currently.
only the finances, or is it the difference of opinions or wants or desires here
Oh,
in groups
that
too?
too, that too. But yeah, that finances trumps all that stuff. But
Do you
you know,
generally only travel, like when you're traveling with groups, you're in your groups, are you traveling with the same gender groups or different gender, or like do you okay.
mixed groups. Yeah. I can't think of a time I did an all guys trip except for this last trip. Yeah, so I mixed trips for the most part, mixed genders. Yeah.
Okay. I find I tend to I haven't done a group trip in a very long time, but there's always I tend to be the person that annoys people. Not in that
Mm.
I annoy people, but I'm the one who's like, I can't do it all. So
Yeah, I think sometimes people don't want to do group trips because they feel like they have to do everything. And I don't think you have to. I think yes, you wanna do things with the group, but you don't have to do everything with the group. But also recognize and let that group person know, like, hey, yes, I want to attend the group trip, but I'm not gonna do everything. I'm gonna participate, because you don't want to seem like some Debbie Downer person or something like that. But if the group is doing 10 things, you should try to do at least five, and you can still do your own thing. But I think it's just that communication piece, right? That's important. It's communication, just letting whomever is organizing it say, hey, yeah, this sounds exciting, but I only want to do certain things, so I'm not going to do everything, but I still want to participate, with the group and so on and so
yeah,
forth.
I think that's, and I think you're right. It's the communication, and I mean, I've had friendships end because I was like,
All friends
I'm not,
can't travel together. Yeah.
and it wasn't even like I was trying to, you know what it was? It was really because I said that I liked the trip before more than the trip that we had just ended. And it was
Mm.
really because they were doing everything. They were like, we were going all over town during the day, and then they were going out at night. And I was like, look, I can go out at night or I can go out during the day.
You
What I
can't do
cannot do is both. you
right.
know?
Yeah.
So you're
Everyone's
gonna
not
have to decide which way you want me. And they didn't really love that I was like, yeah, I'm tired. Like I couldn't do it all. Like I just cannot
right.
do it all. Not that it's not that my spirit didn't want to, but y'all was doing a lot. We didn't, what
You
happened to
gotta
hang out in the room and just chilling and getting to know each other.
Yeah, we all got limitations, man. I've been on a trip with my friend, and I left him in the room because he just didn't want to do whatever. So that's fine, and we didn't have any beef about that. He wanted to stay. I went and did whatever, and connect later. It's no big thing. It's just having the right communication.
Have you like found, do you have like the right group of friends? Like do you, because also like I think it's about finding the right group of people to travel with, right? Like how did you find that group, that group of people to do your traveling with?
Great question. So I don't know if I'd say I have a consistent group of friends that I travel with outside of like my carnivals trips. So I've traveled with different groups. So it just depends. It depends on the trip. But yeah, wouldn't say I have a consistent group. Like, oh, we got this group every year. We have our annual trip. Yeah, I don't have that. I guess because I just travel so much that I have groups of friends that have trips, and sometimes I can't make it. Like I'm booked up or whatever the case may be. Can't always make it to everything. But
So when you're traveling, who are you when you're traveling? Are you the one who's like the like, let's go guys, or the I'm gonna get there, or there's this really crazy adventurous thing, let's do that one? Like who are you? Are you the one gathering everyone together? Like who do you show up as when you're doing these group trips? That's what I'm curious about.
so I'll probably show up as the like let's go, just kind of rally everyone together, keep us on track or whatever on schedule if there's a schedule. And probably yeah, hey, I found this crazy adventure. Let's do this. Let's do that type of thing. I could be that person.
Awesome.
Yeah. So.
Awesome. I think that's I think I'm like I'm the ones like I go on trips and I let everyone else plan stuff. I'm like, oh, that's what we're doing.
Hmm.
I have literally been on trips. And I'm like, oh, that's where we're going tomorrow. Okay. Wait, what's the plan for tomorrow? Cool.
Yeah. Sometimes I handle the logistics too. You know, some places I go, I have no. I'll get a rental because I have no problem driving different cities, different countries, um, and then sometimes not so much. But really, just depends on the trip. But I'm a avid believer in just having a vehicle and being able to navigate myself because that's the best way to see someplace if you can. You know, you get to and you're on your own schedule because you're controlling when you come and go versus not having to rely on a driver or find a driver, but all just depends on where I'm going. Like, for example, when I went to France, seeing them drive, no, I can't drive there. No, because they drive crazy. I can't drive there. And
So
then
how often do you travel in a year, not including the work trips?
not including the work trips, probably at least 2 to 4 times.
Okay. And these are like weeks each time or just short ones or
No, it depends. It depends. If I'm going out the country, I probably will go for. I don't really do short out the country trips because you fly so far depending on where you're going. You don't want to go for 3 days and come back. Like that's pointless. So maybe like 5 to 7 days on average. Probably the longest trip I did was maybe I think 2 weeks. I mean, as an adult, was probably 2 weeks when I went to Trinidad one year for 2 weeks.
okay. Is there any next destination you're can't wait to get to?
Yeah, so I'm counting down. I'm going to Jamaica. I'll be there in like 2.5 weeks. I'm
Okay.
excited.
So I should have asked that question differently because I know you're gonna go to Jamaica again. Is there some place you haven't been to yet that you can't wait to plan the
Yeah,
next trip
so
to?
I'm going to Costa Rica in June, so I'm excited about that.
Okay, awesome. So are you usually going up and down this side of the planet or are you going other
That's a great
places?
that's a great point. So I do want to go other places. I really, really am dying to get to anywhere in Africa. So that's like a big bucket list trip for me. I haven't really technically I have been on that continent, but I don't really count it. But I want to go to somewhere in Africa, whether it's Ghana, Nigeria, Tanzania, Kenya, Egypt, Morocco. A lot of
Yeah.
places to see in Africa. So I want to go for like 3 weeks
Mm,
and maybe potentially hit like 3 countries. If I could go for 3 weeks or 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and hit like 3 countries, that'd be great.
I hear you. I want to go to Nigeria so badly, partially because my friend lives there and it's just like you just need to come. And but he just had a
Also, if you have a friend living there,
I
that's
know.
beautiful because I think the two biggest things, expenses for any trip, is obviously the airfare and the lodging. But I also hear that once you get over to Africa, things aren't as expensive. So if you have someone that lives there and you could stay there, that's half the battle right there.
That is half the battle.
But it
But
is
like
a long flight. It is a long flight.
I know, but then like I feel bad because I have a friend in Spain who keeps going. Come, I guess my twin. So I shouldn't even say friend. We're not family, but we're family. So he's in Spain. He's like, you got to come here. And my brother's in Japan, and he's like, you haven't been here in all the years I've lived here. So I feel like if I make it over the any of
No
these
choice.
oceans again, I got to get to these other people that are higher
What part of
priority.
what part of Spain is your friend in?
My friend is in. Why did I just do that? I want to say he's in Madrid.
Okay. So I went to Barcelona a few years ago and
Mm,
it was such a great trip. Um, this was the first time my sister got to go to Europe and we went for her birthday and what made it great was it was not a place I was even interested in going. So we just found a good deal, a good price to go. So one thing about travel is if you can just determine a budget in your head and you could find a destination to go to. And that's kind of what we did. And it was such an amazing time because I had a friend that lived there, she had a friend that lived there, and we connected with them and the food was so delicious. We
mm.
did a Game of Thrones tour because we like Game of Thrones. And we just had a really, really nice time in Barcelona. And I definitely would go back. And it was just a beautiful place. It was nice. It was really good.
I've heard that about Barcelona. One of my friends went once and just said that she wants to relocate there. Like, so I've heard that about it. So yeah, I was trying to get to, I think I was trying to get to, I was trying to get to Madrid when I went to Scotland, and I was trying to add that onto the trip, but the trip alone was already a 3-week trip
Oh,
because we
okay.
went to, I think it was a 3-week trip. We went to um England, Wales, and Scotland. And
Okay.
so there was just no way that I could add more time onto that trip because my bosses were like flipping. And so
Yeah.
it was just like I couldn't do it. I couldn't make that next leg there. But I want to get there. But I also I need to get to Japan. My brother has made it very clear. But
Yeah,
Japan
got
also, I think Japan I still can't get there actually. So maybe I can use COVID as an excuse because you can't Japan is like no access unless you're in Japan and you live there. You can't get there unless you're a Japanese citizen. You're not getting to Japan. So my brother's not a Japanese citizen, but he is a resident. So he can leave and come back, but he can't, like, you can't go visit.
Gotcha.
So I think I actually can go to other places for a moment because you
As
can't
an
visit
excuse
Japan
for the
yet.
time being.
So yeah. Anyway, so thank you for talking about the budgeting. So how, like, should people be afraid, or should people use I can't afford to travel as an excuse to not travel?
I think you shouldn't use it as an excuse. If you want to travel, I think it's all about finding the means and the way to make it happen. And when we talk about travel, don't get caught up in I have to get on a plane or I have to go out the country. Find something that works for you, even if you can just do a road trip 3 hours from your city and go and explore somewhere that you haven't been to before. That's a trip in itself. Don't discount that. I think a lot of people get caught up in having to, oh, I need to get on a flight, or I need to go get stamps for my passport, but that's a real trip. Look, however you can go somewhere to experience and explore somewhere new, by all means, go about it. Look, I've taken the Chinatown bus. If you're from the New York, New Jersey area, you know about that. I've taken that to
Risk your life.
Charlotte, North Carolina once before.
Ooh,
I've
ooh.
gotten, I've flown Spirit. I have no problem flying Spirit. I know a lot of people may knock Spirit. I flew them last week, and I also fly first class sometimes on United. So, and there's nothing wrong with, hey, there's Amtrak. Amtrak has something called a rail pass, and they have it on sale maybe once or twice a year. And a rail pass, it's either $199 or $299. I forgot the cost, but you can take 10 segments on an Amtrak train. So that's a segment is you get on and you get off. That's one segment. So if you take it from New York to DC and get off, that's one segment. Then you could take it somewhere else. Like, I want to get that. And even if I don't use all 10 segments, because you have to use it within 30 days, if I can do some of their like really nice longer routes, like on the West Coast or something, I think that'd be like an awesome trip. Even if I had to fly one way and just do a couple segments. So that's, Amtrak goes a lot of places. You got the Greyhound bus. So there's ways to get places. Last year during the pandemic, I really was trying to convince my parents, like, hey, let's rent an RV and go somewhere. But they went with it. I really wanted to do that because that's on my bucket list to do. Do like an RV trip. I think that'd be so cool.
I gotta say, I'm sorry if anyone's watching this on YouTube. I made like 15 different faces while you were saying some of these places. So I will say I've never taken Spirit, but I also have heard enough about Spirit to know that I'm not going to do that to myself,
Well,
but that's
I think
okay.
you should form your own opinion. Get your own
That's true.
experience.
But
So
also
get your
and I'm not bougie like that because I'm not. I can't afford to be bougie. I will probably never get the opportunity to be in first class. Maybe one day, got knock on wood, someone will find a way to finance my first class ticket, or luck will be on my side. But I do love Amtrak, and so I have to book it soon. Now
Mhm.
that I got permission, when I go to North Carolina, I don't fly. I go to Amtrak, and I've taken the Amtrak down to Atlanta. Partially because I enjoy being on the train that long. Like it's a nice reset and preparation for the next thing. I sort of can just like get my brain ready for whatever I'm doing in the next location. I it's not the most fun thing to use the bathroom on Amtrak, and I don't get the sleeper car, which you can do to Atlanta. There's no sleeper car to North Carolina necessarily, but those longer rides have a longer car space in between seats, so your knees have more space. It's not like your New York to DC type of ride, so they are more comfortable. So I can vouch for that. I actually do want to take the Amtrak across the country one day because I've heard great things about that one. And that is that same hop on, hop off. You get off. I think your first transfer is in like Chicago or something like that, because it doesn't go straight across. So you do have to hop off anyway. But I can't take Greyhound. I can only, like, the most I can do is maybe I can come back from Philly. I can do DC if I have to. I've had a lot of bad experiences with buses, and I can do to like Boston, but I have gone to Maine.
They have this new luxury bus from DC.
They have
Like,
a luxury bus?
yeah, I forgot what it's called, but it's not like 40 something seats. It's like 20 something seats. They're like leather, and like the way the chairs are, like you really don't feel the impact of the road.
Okay.
And they have like almost like a flight attendant that brings you beverages and snacks. I forgot what it's called, but it's like $100 for one way though. But it sounds
Okay,
really
so
nice.
may not be worth it, but maybe worth it. Okay, let me know, because you know what happened. My first bus was to Virginia. My first Greyhound bus ever was to Virginia. It was traumatic. The whole trip was traumatic. Y'all have to read my book, Still Laughing, to really know the whole story. But my bus actually had some like issue. We stood on the side of the road, then filled up with fumes, and that was sort of cemented my like hate for buses. you know?
So yeah, I get it.
So, but yeah, I mean, I do agree. Like, you can go anywhere. That's why I love Philly. Philly is 2 hours from New York, but it's a whole different city, a whole different vibe. You get to just
Absolutely.
like chill differently, and everything's so close by too. I just stay
Yeah,
downtown,
you could just
but you can
walk.
walk
Yeah,
to everywhere,
walk and stuff. Yeah.
and it's so gorgeous. So I agree. I co-sign that one. I co-sign that. So, um, we're coming near the end. I'm so sad about this.
Oh,
So sad
time
about
flew.
this. Oh, time flew, and it's like I want to ask you like 5,000 more questions because I want to learn more about this, but like I don't have more questions, so I don't know what to do. Um, so if there's a way, and I don't know that this is not necessarily even an applicable question, but it is a question I ask everyone. If there's a way we could, how do we support the travel community? Or you said something about like there's Black travelers out there that we don't even realize that it is, or how do we get more Black people to travel? Like, how do we, like, what can we do to advocate for that, or anything that comes along with that thought process or question?
That's deep. I think it's how do we advocate for that? I encourage everyone to travel, right? I think for me, as someone who speaks in front of, teenagers, young people, young adults, I always show a few pictures of places I've been just to show them, like, hey, somebody like me has been to Dubai, has been to Barcelona, has been to, Jamaica, just to show them like it's possible, and let people know, if you do travel, let people know, especially younger people or anybody that you do, or invite them on a trip, or tell them about a deal to go somewhere, someplace, right? Just encourage others, because the world is such a big place. It's bigger than your block, it's bigger than your borough, it's bigger than your neighborhood. And I think traveling, like I said, whether it's a different state, different city, different country, it's just such an eye-opening experience. You'll get to experience something new. You'll get to meet new people. You'll get to do new things. And it's a great teaching opportunity. Yes, we learn a lot through books. We learn a lot through the internet, but there's nothing better than getting to experience those things for yourself.
So you said something, I just want, I don't even know how to ask, but I don't want to lose this point a little bit, because I'm from the Bronx, born and raised. You from
Mhm.
Jersey, born and raised, right? Like, can you talk more about that representation of what that, well, have you seen that be important when people from these places that people, because like the thing is like, you know how many people I know from the Bronx who don't have a passport, and you can drive into Canada. And here's the thing, you don't even need a passport to get into Canada now. If you get your
Did
enhanced
they
driver's
do away with
license,
that? Oh, you got to get an enhanced driver's license?
yes,
Okay.
if you get the enhanced driver's license, because I have, so it was ridiculous. I have the enhanced driver's license. I was like, I'll just get the enhanced driver's license. But I also have the passport card. And so both do the same thing and they let you cross that border.
Mm.
And so you all you need is that card, whether it's your enhanced driver's license or an enhanced or the passport card will let you cross the border. So you can have the passport or you can have the enhanced driver's license for New York State and you can just drive into Canada. Canada is literally
Like 6 hours.
7 hours from New York City in a car.
Right.
It is not that far. So you can go do that on a driver's license. You know, like I think there's something so beautiful. And that was the first country I think it is the first country I actually went to. The first time I got a passport was because I was going on a cruise to Hawaii. Not Hawaii, I've never been to Hawaii. This is what happens when I'm tired. When I'm tired, I lie. I make
No.
up stuff so well when I lie, when I'm tired. Goodness. I went on a cruise to Alaska, and because Alaska goes through international waters, you technically need a passport to
Mm.
take a cruise, even though you're still going from United States to United States. So I got the passport for that trip, but I didn't use it until I went to Canada. And so I used it for the Canada trip. But like it's right next door. So I think that I would love you to even have you when you talk to these kids, do you see them like have a response to the fact that you being this guy from Jersey, you know, like do you see them have a response to the idea, that possibility of like you could travel the world, you could get to Dubai?
Yeah, absolutely. And I even asked them if they've been out the country, and sometimes some of them have, and some of them have goals and aspirations to travel to other places. I think for anyone who doesn't have a passport, if you're eligible to get one, get one. I think it's $100 maybe. The passport is literally the gateway to the world. Yes, we have the internet, but it is the gateway to the world. It's good for 10 years. And even if you don't want to go somewhere far, there's a lot of places in the Caribbean that you can go to that aren't as expensive to get to. I think give it a try, try to go somewhere, try to see something, try to do something different. And it can really, really open your minds. And it's never too late. It's never too late to get started. Don't feel like, oh, I'm beyond my young days or whatever the case may be. Just get out there and sport. There's something for everybody everywhere. I think unless you're of an older age and you don't want to go party with spring breakers in Cancun, you just don't go during spring break time. But there's something for everybody everywhere.
That was a question I was thinking about. Do you travel off season or do you travel during season always?
So I think it's best. It depends on where I gotta go. I'm trying to travel within a budget. Unless it's somewhere I have to go and the I haven't spent more than $800 on a flight to go somewhere. But I don't know if I say I travel off season per se. It just really depends on when I gotta go somewhere. Sometimes some of these trips I have to go for other reasons, whatever. But for example, the Barcelona thing, it just happened to be, I subscribe to something called Scott's Cheap Deals. Yes, I could find this on my own, but why not get it sent to my inbox without me having to do anything? Because it doesn't cost too much for me. And I saw the price. I don't remember exactly the price. It might have been literally less than $300. And it just basically, I think people don't think this way. Just like you go to the grocery store or you go to the mall and you buy something that's on sale, there's flights or cities or destinations that are on sale and you can travel that way. And that's how I went to Barcelona. It was on sale, so we call them flight deals, right? But typically, basically, it was on sale. The dates I wanted to go worked, so that's why I went, because it was on sale. Just like sometimes you might be in the mall, you see a shirt, oh, this looks nice. Oh, it's on sale. I'm gonna buy it. You didn't intend to buy it, but it was on sale. So the same thing can happen with flights or destinations. They can be on sale, especially like you said, off season time. Something could be on sale.
Yeah, so for those people who don't know anything about traveling, off season, so there's the peak season when everyone's traveling. So like I think in the Caribbean, usually it's your December time, your winter time, because it's not hurricane season anymore. And so the weather's nicer. That's when a lot of people, and the weather sucks in the United States at that time because it's cold. So people are running away, and that's a lot of the times the prices may be more expensive because everyone's running away at that moment. So that's your peak season, but your off season may be right before that time. It'd be or right after that time. Or same thing like, like in Texas when South by Southwest is happening, everyone's traveling for South by Southwest. So the prices are going to be up because of South by Southwest happening. But if you come right after South by Southwest or you come right before it, prices are not going to be gouging at the same exact moment. So it's sort of knowing when the big things are happening and not. So I usually travel during the summer, which has when I've gone to I've gone to DR and I've gone to St. Martin a few times. I would travel during the summer, which is part of hurricane season. And most of the times has not been a problem.
That's good.
Until there was Arlene.
Oh.
And Arlene followed me, got me in DR, and then followed me home to New York. So I definitely spent 10 days in DR, not planned. And like the extra 3 days was not planned. And then when I got to New York, guess who followed me to New York? Arlene. Because that was the one hurricane that made it up the side of the coast into New York area. But off season will be sometimes your cheaper time to go. And the same thing actually when we went to England, when we went to UK, it was off season. It was just right before, it was right as the season had ended. So the prices were a little bit lower because UK is colder than New York and or colder than this area. So people don't tend to go during the colder season because it is a little bit more nipply and you don't want to be like freezing all parts of you off. So people don't tend to travel there during that time. So that's something to look at, I guess, for if we're talking about prices and making it a cheaper trip. I don't know much about traveling. These are the things my friends planned when we went on trips because I'm the one who's like, oh, we going there? Okay. Oh, let me see my wallet. I got the money. Let's go.
Not the plan of the group. We just want to go.
So you said we going. Oh, cool. If I got the money, I'll be there. I'll make it happen. So, Orane, how do we find you and support you?
You can find me. My website is oranewilliams.com. So that's ORANE Williams.com. I'm also on Instagram at Orane Speaks. The way that's how you can find me. You can support me. My business is called Brand New Motivations, where I do workshops to empower young adults and young teens around a variety of different topics. If you know a group, a school, a college, an educator, or anyone that does hire and bring in speakers, please feel free to send them my information. And that's the best way you can support me and my business. And if you want to send me some frequent flyer miles, I'll take those as well. I tend to travel on United mostly.
Send him the frequent flyer miles so he can go travel somewhere else and I can sit here and be jealous. Thank you, Orane, for talking to us on behalf of the traveling community. I've learned a lot about you and about traveling, and now I want to go pack a bag and go head somewhere else because I don't know where to go next, but I feel like I feel like I got bit by the travel bug. So thank you for sharing all of that
so
with
much
us.
for having me, Dara. I really appreciate coming on here and talking to your community.
Thank you. And so this was on behalf of, and we will speak to you again soon.